Now going on to question number 15, we always read the prompt first, and here it's asking us to complete the text. And when you're being asked to complete the text, this is a predictive question. We're wondering what's going to come next, but usually if you simply summarize the text, one answer pops up as the right one. So let's try that. So let's start reading. One challenge when researching whether holding elected office changes a person's behavior is the problem of ensuring that the experiment has an appropriate control group. To reveal the effect of holding office, researchers must compare people who hold elected office with people who do not hold elected office, but who are otherwise similar to the office holders. Since researchers are unable to control which politicians win elections, they therefore what? So what's being spoken of here is that it's hard to research the idea of whether holding elected office changes behavior. And what's being further explained is that researchers to do this must compare people who hold office with people who don't hold office, but who are otherwise similar. The best way to do this would be to compare politicians before and after they win elections, but researchers are unable to control which politicians win elections. So we're either looking for something that talks about how this is a problem or how something is being done to fix it. So let's look at the answers. So because researchers can't control which politicians win elections, they struggle to find valid data about the behavior of politicians who do not currently hold office. Well, what they're struggling for is a comparison between the ones who do and don't hold office. So far, I don't like this one. B, since researchers are unable to control which politicians win elections, they can only conduct valid studies with people who have previously held office rather than people who presently hold office. That's not really the difference we're talking about, whether they held the office in the past or currently. It's more about whether holding office at all changes your opinions. C, since researchers are unable to control which politicians win elections, they therefore should select a control group of people who differ from office holders in several significant ways. I don't think this really addresses it because the passage went out of its way to say that we need people who are otherwise similar. In other words, the only difference between the people being studied is whether or not they held office, but they're actually similar in other ways. And so here it's talking about only getting people who differ from office holders, not the idea that they're similar in other ways. So C doesn't really work well. And let's look at D. D says, since researchers are unable to control which politicians win elections, they therefore will find it difficult to identify a group of people who can function as an appropriate control group for their studies. Well, that makes a lot of sense because that is nothing more than a fancy way to express what's already been expressed, which is that they can't control which politicians win elections, and therefore it's hard to find a pool of people to study. And I think D is kind of a restatement of that same idea with different words. So we'll go ahead and pick D for number 15.